जय श्री प्रभुपाद. Krishna. You all know the teachings of Queen Kunti, and of His Divine Grace Abhaichana Rafinishla Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I will try to read from the book. Verse 1, the original, no, chapter 1. Verse 1. Bhagavatam 1:8-18. Srimati Kunti said, "O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you, because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything. Yet you are invisible to all. Now this is a commentary of His Divine Grace, Bachelor Ravinda Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, although he was playing the part of her nephew. Such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Therefore, she addressed him as the original Purusha beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature. But the Lord is never like that in the Vedas. Therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetanam. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetanam. Then again he is addressed as Ishvara, or the controller. The living entities or the demigods like Chandra and Surya, the moon and the sun, are also to some extent Ishvara, but none of them is the supreme Ishvara or the ultimate controller. Krishna is the Parameshvara or the super soul. He is both within and without. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Through all the Vedas, I am to be known because I am the compiler of the Vedas and I am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living beings, is still invisible. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all pervasive or localized. In fact, he is both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the Maya energy. It controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. It is explained as follows. 2. The second verse from the. What is this? Now this was what? 188. Now 1890. The next verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. being beyond the range of limited sense perception. You are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So Queen Kunti continues to speak to Krishna. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.18. Commentary. Maybe this is the commentary of His Divine Grace, the Bhakti Ravinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Oh, I forgot to say that. Om Gyat Miranda Sagna Gnash Chikana Shloka. Chumi Tamnat Hashibram. Ishitani Nobistan Svarupaktam Himdasva. Vandham Shiguru Shupada Kamal Shiguru. Shum Sagastam Sagna Natam Tam Sach. Записом тут не порежна с начинай да. Ши рада. Кришна. Ома гяти миранда се гнани нашла. Като шум там не сме сигурни. Ши читаме много там с питаме. Свару пак дам хантас. Ван ши ютуб. Бат ван ши гуру шуд пада канал ши гуру вишну. Шум слажно се гна рада. Абсолютно порежна с тем. Ши читаме да учила Кришна паса. Шакам чак. Hey Krishna Karunasindhu Dinapam Jagat Pesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste. Tapta Kanchana Gongi Radha Definition. Rishapan Steady Nami. Vanchaka Puturpichakli Pastu Pevachapti, Pavanebu Vishnavepu Namona Maha. Tashi Krishna Chaitanya Parapunti Navashi Veta. Linda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Rama. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now the commentary of His Divine Grace about Srimad Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada about this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.18. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna affirms that less intelligent persons mistake him to be an ordinary man like us, and thus they deride him. The same is confirmed herein by Queen Kunti. The less intelligent persons are those who rebel against the authority of the Lord. Such persons are known as Asuras. The Asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. Then when the Lord Himself appears among us, as Rama, Nrisimha, Varaha, or in His original form as Krishna, He performs many wonderful acts which are humanly impossible, as we shall find in the 10th canto of this great literature. Lord Shri Krishna executed His humanly impossible activities even from the days of His lying on the lap of His mother. He killed the Putana witch, although she smeared her breast with poison just to kill the Lord. The Lord sucked her breast like a natural baby, and He sucked out her very life also. Similarly, He lifted the Govardhana hill just as a boy picks up a frog's umbrella and stood several days continuously just to give protection to the residents of Vrindavan. These are some of the superhuman activities of the Lord described in the authoritative Vedic literatures like the Puranas, Itihasas, histories, Puranas, Itihasas, histories, and Upanishads. He has delivered wonderful instructions in the shape of the Bhagavad Gita. He has shown marvelous capacities as a hero, as a householder, as a teacher, and as a renouncer. He is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by such authoritative personalities as Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Narada, Madhva, Shankara, Ramanuja, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravartita, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and all other authorities of the line. He himself has declared as much in many places of the authentic literatures. He himself has declared as much in many places of the authentic literatures, and yet there is a class of men with demonic mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as the supreme absolute truth. This is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present. Such persons could not recognize Lord Shri Krishna even when he was present before them. Another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot realize him as the Supreme Lord. Such persons are like the modern scientist. They want to know everything by their experimental knowledge. But it is not possible to know the Supreme Person by imperfect experimental knowledge. He is described herein as adokshaja, or beyond the range of experimental knowledge. All our senses are imperfect. We claim to observe everything and anything, but we must admit that we can observe things under the certain material conditions only, which are also beyond our control. The Lord is beyond the observation of sense perception. Queen Kunti accepts this difficulty of the conditioned soul, especially of the woman class, oh, which are less intelligent. Oh my god. So, the woman class is less intelligent. This is not true. The woman is not a class first. These are persons like the men. The women are persons like the men, human beings like the men. So they are not a class. And also, what does it mean to be intelligent? The intelligence which the women have is much more clever than the intelligence which men have. The intelligence of a woman is much higher than the intelligence of men. Her thoughts are much more connected with the highest personality of Godhead, Krishna, for example, than the thoughts of the men. So actually, the women are actually more intelligent than men. But of course, the question is what intelligence is meant. The women intelligence is very high intelligence, which is not easy to be described with words and not easy to be understood. So that's why the man cannot describe it and cannot understand it. And what the man cannot describe and cannot understand, they don't accept, of course. And as it was said some lines above, before some lines was said, that our senses are not perfect. So the senses of the man are also not perfect. They are not enough sharp to understand the intelligence of somebody else and the intelligence of a woman, of the women also not. So the intelligence of the men, the sense of the men and the intelligence of the men are not enough sharp, not enough high, and not enough sharp to the men to be able to understand the women. They also don't understand each other. They don't understand the women. They don't understand themselves also. So, so, so this is not true. This is written here. So, but it's obvious because some lines before it was said that we have imperfect knowledge. The persons on the earth who live nowadays, they have imperfect knowledge, so they cannot also judge how intelligent are the women. So that's why it's said here already that the men have actually imperfect senses. That's why that's why they can also not judge if the women are intelligent because the men themselves they don't have perfect senses to understand this. So it was said some lines ago. So it is absolutely there is logic in it, yes. So for the less intelligent person, there must be such things as temples, mosques, or churches, so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the Lord and hear about him from authorities in such places. For the less intelligent, this beginning of spiritual life is essential, and only foolish men create the establishment of such places of worship, which are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes for the mass of people. For less intelligent persons, bowing down before the authority of the Lord is generally done in the temples, mosques, or churches, as it is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon him by active service. Yes, but again, one have to say that um, um, so I'm not absolutely sure of what I have said is really okay. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's see the next one. The most intelligent woman. Oh, so the next time I will maybe I will continue with that. Yeah. Okay. So um, so this this I'm not sure if Prabhupada really has said that the women are less intelligent. I'm not sure because actually exactly Prabhupada was the person who taught the female devotees in the West to be pujaris. And actually the first women pujaris are in these temples which nowadays. Nowadays, before thousands of years, maybe there were female pujaris, but okay, when Prabhupada came in the West, in New York and other towns, then the first, he was the first who taught the women to be pujaris. So he actually introduced the being of the the being of the women as pujaris. So actually, Srila Prabhupada didn't think that the women are less intelligent than the men. Otherwise, he could not have teach them to be pujaris. So it is clear that Srila Prabhupada was really very, very respectful to his, very respectful, including to his female disciples. This is clear. The first women devotees, the first women pujaris are actually the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, of His Divine Grace, Bhajanavrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So it is impossible that Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, Bhajanavrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada could have been thinking that the women are less intelligent. I don't think so. Okay, of course it doesn't matter what I think, I'm nobody, but just to say. Okay. Namaste Narsimhaya. Namaste Narsimhaya. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Shri Krishna.